Hey, welcome back again. Today I have a special video for you. In this video, I'm actually going to teach you all of the tricks and secrets that I've learned along the way from importing many different monitors from Europe into the United States. And a lot of people don't realize how inexpensive it can be to import a monitor from the UK or France or anywhere else for that matter. So they get shied off from doing it. They don't want to do it. But in this video, I am going to show you everything. Where to search, how much it should cost, what shipping partners you should use, how you fill out the paperwork, everything you need to know so that you can import your own monitors and get them delivered to your door. All right, so a little bit of background about myself. Like I said, I've personally imported tens of thousands of dollars of BVMs and PVMs in Europe. In my professional career, I do international sales for the pro video industry, not for monitors, but in the cabling industry. And so I have a lot of familiarity with import and export. And so when I saw some of these pricing differences and knew how, if you know what to do, how easy it is to import these monitors. I didn't intend to do it. It wasn't my plan, but it was just so easy. I just started doing it. So that's what I'm going to be teaching you guys today. I've actually split shipments with people inside the UK and other places here in the United States. So I'm going to teach you guys how. Really what I do is I try and go together with people because usually when you find one monitor, you find several monitors, and so at least that's been my experience. So once you find them, you want to split them. You want to share them with other people who need them, and so that's what I always did on every single shipment that I had. I helped out, I don't know, several people. I'm sure some of the people watching this video, and so I made another video on how I use this method to get a free D24, and you could see that in another video. But this is really the behind the scenes, I guess. I'm not doing it anymore. I stopped trading in monitors and finding them. I just, it was fun for a while, and then I got over it and started more up in the car scene again. And so since I'm not using all these tips, I thought I'd pass them along to you. So anyway, okay, a couple caveats before we get into it. One, this only works on high-end monitors. If you're looking for like a 14-inch, L2 or something, the shipping is not going to be worth it. This is only going to be on like D24s, D32s, or some real nice JVC monitor or whatever. The good news is you can fit multiple monitors on a pallet, and that's really when you really get a good deal. So we're probably looking at around $400 to $600 to ship these, which is not a ton of money really, considering how much USA freight is. It's actually as expensive to ship from Europe to the US as it is within the US. I have no idea why. Maybe slightly more expensive, but it's basically equivalent if you know what you're doing. I think it's just the way that the freight travels. I'm not sure, but right now the exchange rate is excellent, and so the dollar is real strong against the euro or the pound. So our dollar goes a lot further than it does there, especially right now. So, and then on top of that, here's the big thing. In America, we don't pay VAT, which everyone in Europe has to pay. So when all these Europeans are looking at the price of a monitor, they have to add 20% onto it. When the American is looking at the European monitors, we don't have to pay 20% tax. We have to pay, somewhat more in shipping, which offsets the tax. But at the end of the day, if you can combine shipping, then you're saving a ton of money. And that's really, where the smart move is. So, all right, so the first thing is where to find them and how to search. So this is really the meat of the information. So first off, the biggest website I would say, the one that got me the most monitors is KitPlus, KITPLUS.com. There's a used gear section there, And what you do is just type in BVM. It's going to pull up tons of BVMs, most of which are not going to be the desirable ones, or if they are the desirable ones, the sellers know that they're, worth some money. So what you do is, if you find one on there, great, contact the seller, see what you can do. But what you can also do is it's like a directory of broadcasters in Europe, used equipment broadcasters. So when you click on even a monitor you don't want, you see who the seller is. And then you start contacting all those sellers, even if they don't show exactly what you want. And these guys are getting in stuff all the time. And because in Europe it's just different. So you get your name in with all these people, and you stay on top of them, stay in touch. Hey, how you doing? Some of them will just call you back. Some of them you got to keep bugging. But there's tons of companies. A couple of ones that I worked with are ES Broadcast and Gearhouse Broadcast. Those were two companies that I found on Kit Plus that I ended up, they get monitors in from time to time, and you just got to be in touch with the guys, and and they'll give you a good deal. And if they have multiples, which is usually what happens, because these, when they get a shipment in, they usually don't get one monitor. Someone usually drops off several of them. And so the move is I'll take, 5 monitors, and then it's going to cost a lot of money, potentially, to get it and ship it. And that's, I think, what might steer some people away. But if you team up with other people, then everyone can, get a monitor for cheap. That's the way that I look at it. So Kit Plus is the first one. Next one would be MCD Auctions. I bought a monitor from that auction site as well. It's another UK auction site. You could just, they have auctions like quarterly. They're not always going on, but if you get on their mailing list, they'll send you updates on when their auctions are going to be, and then you can, once you get the email, just go on and check and see if they have anything. That's one way. I got a $750, I'm sorry, that was $1,200 D24 off of there with shipping. That was a pretty good deal. So MCD Auctions, that's another place. So there's eBay Japan, or in the US we use Buyee Japan. It's buyee.com, Buyee, and you have to set up an account through them. There you can bid on Japanese models. I found a D32 there. And then once you learn how to ship it, which I'll talk to you about in a minute, this just is where you find the monitors. Once you find them, then you need to know how to ship them into the US. But Buyee is another one if you want to search Japanese eBay, which is a big one. And then also do, when you're searching, search Germany, Sweden, Italy, and France. Sweden's not that, big of a country at all, but, Germany, Italy, France certainly are. But check out those places, see if there's any, there are used broadcast companies in those places. I don't list them all, but you can easily find them, especially through Kit Plus. So check out that. That's where you search. That's where you start your search. You're looking for preferably monitors in box, or in a shipping crate, in a container. But it doesn't have to be. I've done it both ways, and it's fine. But so that's where you search. You try and find a good deal. You're looking for companies because not people, because companies can they have accounts with the freight companies, and they can get you the best deals. So that's one of the reasons why you want to work with the business. Also, you want to work with the business because you're going to be doing bank transfers, and you want them to be a certified, a reputable company. So that's what you're looking for, is actual businesses. They're going to package it correctly, and so forth. So that's where you search. So once you find it, we'll get on to so shipping. Here is the thing that took me the most time. Well, I guess finding the websites took me a lot of time, and then figuring out shipping took me a lot of time, because you have to find a carrier that will do a residential delivery to your home, which not all of them will. You have to get a quote. Some of the companies I've learned over the years are expensive. Some of them are cheap. I'll tell you which one to use, which is TNT Freight. So In Europe, TNT freight is very common. In America, TNT freight is FedEx freight, which is really good. So it's a premium service, really. And almost all these companies use TNT freight. And they have accounts with TNT freight, so they get special deals on the freight. Better deals than if you booked it. So you want them to book it, you don't want to book it. They get way better deals. So you find a company, they already have an account with TNT, you ask them for a quote to get it shipped to your address, right? And then you just tell them that you'll prepay for that shipment. You'll take care of all the taxes, which, by the way, there are none on the U.S. side. Obviously, you don't have to pay European tax, but there's also no tax to import it in the United States. Let's see. So I've tried others like UPS. I've tried specialty companies. They work, they're fine, but they're both really expensive. So TNT, I don't know why it's so cheap, but it is. So it's like half of the other companies. So obviously packaging is a big concern. But the thing is, these things are meant to be shipped around the world. You know, they have big metal cases, and you're not shipping it in a box that gets thrown around. You're putting it on a pallet, which gets picked up by a pallet lift. And so really, you know, it's not going to tumble over. It's going to just, you know, get set up and down basically. And so, you know, the people, I've made other videos. You can see some unboxing videos that I've done on my channel where I unboxed some D24s and a BVM and a 20-inch BVM and some other stuff. And you can see how the people packaged it. You know, it's just not rocket science. But if you can get a crate, then, or a metal shipping case, freight case, whatever, air case, whatever you call it, then obviously that's the way to go. Don't pay for insurance. Everyone's, you know, so nervous. Oh my God, what's gonna happen? Oh, it's gonna break. No, just don't pay for insurance. It's gonna be fine. Just have them package it right. It's on a pallet. I talked to Pat Gravier. He does it all the time. You know, Save on Pat, he recommends it as well. I know some people don't like him for whatever stupid reason. You know, I don't know. Our group is filled with a bunch of idiots, unfortunately. But this is, you know, they have their opinion on Pat, and they have their opinion on selling monitors. You know, there's a bunch of pricks about that, but whatever. Next thing is importing. There's just a few notes on that. So I already mentioned you don't pay VAT. Sometimes you have to convince sellers to ship internationally, but if you just say you've done it before and just say, look, I just need it shipped TNT, just you guys have an account with them, let them know why you want to do it that way, and they'll do it. They want to sell the monitors, and they want to sell a few of them at a time, because the UK people aren't buying a few at a time. They want to sell them to you. So it's just cheaper for them to set up. Here's a big one. Use HTS code. I'll put it up on the screen. 8529.90.9900. It's just monitors and accessories. I've used other ones like broadcast monitors. I've never been charged freight or tax. I've never been asked for tax. And I put on, you know, exactly what it is, and so that's the HTS code I've used before. They'll usually ask you for it, especially if the company that you're working with isn't used to exporting. It's nice if you already have that information available. And then you're going to tell them you'll make a bank transfer. And that brings us into payment. So next thing up is payment. Since you're working internationally with another company, the standard in the industry is just to use bank transfer. Most of these people are not going to accept credit card, especially in Europe. Europeans don't use credit cards like we do in America. I mean, they use them, but it's not the same thing. Like businesses don't usually take them the same way that they do in America. So you want to do a bank transfer. So you have no buyer's protection. So that's another thing that people, I guess, get worried about, is that it's not like it's a credit card, you have some recourse. Once you send a bank transfer, it's gone. So you really want to make sure that the company you're working with is reputable. And all the people I've dealt with have been just fine, more than reputable, very customer service oriented. So it's been great. I've used Wells Fargo, just hooked up to my bank account, and you can go in and there's make transfers, and you can add banks, including international banks. So you just go into your Wells Fargo account. these companies are going to send you what they call a pro forma, which is going to list, what you're getting, and then their bank transfer information. So you can say, yes, I accept this pro forma. Here is the money. And you just go, like in my case, I'm sure other banks do it similarly. You just go onto your account, you add the bank as who you want to send it to, and then you just, do the transfer, and it takes, 2-3 days for the money to get through. Once they get the money, then they set up the shipment and ship it off. And then that's basically it. Then you just, you wait. Things you have to keep in mind, some banks charge a $25 fee to do a transfer. It's like or to receive a transfer. So their bank may charge $25 to receive that transfer. So you may get a transfer that's $25 less than it should be. So you might ask the seller if there's any transfer fees on their end, just to make sure you send them the right amount. The banks charge currency conversion fees, which they're not like when you could use Google and do a currency conversion, it's not the same as the fee that they charge. They charge a more advantageous fee to themselves, the one that ends up costing you more. So, keep that in mind. It's not going to be quite as good as just a straight conversion. The bank does have their little cut in on it. And I didn't realize that the first time, and just keep it in mind. Other things to remember, if you find a monitor, make sure it supports NTSC. Most of the higher end monitors do, like any of the D series or whatever, those all support NTSC, but some of the older ones only support PAL. And I had gotten in a situation where I imported one and I had second guesses if it was PAL only, and it actually should have been PAL only, but by some miracle it had an NTSC card built into it that I didn't know about. So I dodged a bullet. But lesson learned, make sure that the monitor you get is PAL. Almost all of them support 120 volt, but some of them are only 240 volt. So again, you want to just make sure that all the D series and newer ones all are universal power. You don't have to worry about it, but some of the older ones only support 240 volts. So you want to make sure. Usually you just have to buy a separate power cable, like a NEMA style power cable, and you can just plug in the US power cable. You throw away their UK power cable. And then again, sellers usually have multiple BVMs that they want to get rid of. So once you find these guys, then I'm sure you got a friend or whatever, or someone that is looking for one, and then that's the perfect time to be like, hey man, let's go together and get some monitors. I've done that several times, and it's always worked out. So anyway, those are my secret tips. That's what I've learned along the way. If you can think of ways to improve on my plan, then go for it. Hopefully this just lays the groundwork of what I've done, and hopefully this video will help you get the monitor of your dreams.